to leave in the odds. Any objections?
Clive Rosfield!
Hello, today we'll be building Clive Rosfield, one of my favorite Final Fantasy protagonists from the game Final Fantasy 16. He's big, he's strong, he's very handsome. At the end of the day, he's also just a good man who's just trying to do right by his people and save the world. What's more earnest than that? Goals for this build. We need to swing that sword of his really well. He deals a lot of damage with that big sword of his, so we're going to make sure he can deal some damage with that sword. Iconic form. We got to build him an icon. His icon is a Efreet, the Warden of Fire, so we're going to try to make him turn into Efreet. Also accepting the truth, he also needs to, Hulk out occasionally and start dealing massive amounts of fire damage to any opponent in his way, and also more magic. He has this ability to take other people's magic, so let's see if we can try to make that in this build. When it comes to Pathfinder 2e, we follow the ABCs, which is your ancestry, background, and class. So our ancestry, that's our A, is going to be a human. Humans get 8 hit points. They're size medium creatures. They have a speed of 25 feet. They also be able to pick a heritage, and for heritage, we're obviously going to pick an Efreet. They're fire-based elemental genie/djinn, and I think they're really cool, plus it kind of fits into the fire theme we're going here with Clive. B is for background. For background, we pick a chosen one. Chosen ones are trained in one skill related to their prophecy. We're going to pick gods or dragons because they kind of line up with the icons that we're trying to work with here. You also get a fortune-telling lore skill. You also gain prophecy's pawn, means whenever you fail a saving throw, an attack roll, or skill check, you may re-roll the failed check, which is pretty helpful when you really want to balance the scales and try to change your fate. At the first level and every 4 levels after, you're able to get an ancestry feat. So at the first level, we can get Inner Flame from Efreet to produce flame, which gives us a fire-based spell cantrip. At the 5th level, you get Adapted Cantrip, and we're going to the Divine Tradition to get Divine Lance, which is you're able to throw a piece of divine energy beams out of your hands, which is going to be kind of like Bahamut's Mega Flares. It's a little bit early for that, but bear with me, we're just working through this as we can. We're also going to get Shielded Arm from Adaptive Adept. So what is this? You reinforce the veins that run in your target's arm, and it wards off blow with its bare skin. Kind of like when, Clive shoots up the arm from the Titan to raise a shield. So it reacts just like a shield. It gets shield block, plus 2 to your AC. It has 4 hardness and 15 hit points. We get Planar Step at the 13th level. So at any point during a day, as soon as you get hit with something, you can just straight up hit resist 25 on that against the damage, and it's going to look like you tried to dodge it. Let's call this the dodge you get from Shiva. And then at the 17th level, you get Blazing Aura. Once per day, as soon as your turn starts, you explode in the flame, and enemies within a 20-foot emanation around you take 7d6 fire damage. Allies in this area are quickened for 1 round, and they also can use an additional strike or action. Now, what does this mean? Well, it's a reaction. So you can Blazing Aura and eventually just straight up turn into a Efreet when we are able to get that level. It's going to happen, I promise. It's going to be worth it, I swear. We also get general feats. So at the 3rd level and every 4 levels after, we get a general feat. So 3rd level, we're going to get toughness. Our toughness can increase our HP by our level. 7th level, we're going to get fleet to increase our movement speed by 5. Powerful leap, so we can leap in 1 action instead of 2. Fast recovery to heal faster when we're not in combat. And 9th level, incredible initiative to increase our initiative by +2 whenever we roll it. So these are really great to just get Clive in the fight and come out and recover fast. The C in Pathfinder stands for class, and the class we're going to be is a Barbarian. Barbarians get 12 hit points per their level, plus their Constitution modifier, which means we're going to get a whole bunch of health when we finish this build. They're Expert Perception, and they're also trained in Barbarian class DC. For saving throws, they're Expert in Fortitude and Will saves, and they're trained in Reflex saves. For attacks, they're trained in Simple, Martial Weapons, and Armed Attacks, and for defenses, they're trained in Light Armor, Medium Armor, and Armored Defense. In Pathfinder 2e, we get ability modifiers at different intervals when we build our characters. So for our ancestry, we picked human with our heritage of Efreet. We're going to pick strength and charisma, because, to be honest, Clive's a very strong, very broad individual. He has a lot of natural strength in him. And charisma, because he just has this natural cadence when he speaks that really speaks to this wisdom that he has. He's able to cultivate a really big following of people following him because they believe in his cause. For background, chosen one will go with strength and constitution. Strength again because Clive is very, very strong, and constitution because he's also extremely tough. Just a big, broad, strong, beautiful man. For our barbarian class, we have to pick strength, which fits perfectly fine with Clive because he is very strong. You notice here on the right, we have also ability boosts at the 1st, 5th, 10th, 15th, and 20th levels. First level, we're going to put Strength, Dexterity, Constitution, Charisma. 5th level, Strength, Constitution, Intelligence, and Wisdom. 10th level, Strength, Dexterity, Constitution, and Charisma. 15th, Strength, Dexterity, Constitution, Wisdom. 20th, Strength, Dexterity, Constitution, and Wisdom. We put a lot of our boosts into Strength, a lot of it into Constitution, because he needs to be strong, and he needs to be tough. Charisma and Wisdom kind of get back and forth, because it's also important to emphasize Clive's Charisma and his ability to stay out in the wilds. And Dexterity to increase our AC. Intelligence takes a little bit of a nosedive. We don't really put a lot of boosts into it, but Clive's very smart. He's just not really using all the muscles. He has Jill and Joshua for that.
So why did we pick a Barbarian? Well, Barbarians get access to Rage. When you rage, you gain temporary hit points equal to your level plus your Constitution modifier. While you're raging, you get a +2 damage on all melee strikes. You can't use actions with the Concentrate trait unless they also have the Rage trait. You can seek while you're raging. Your rage lasts for 1 minute until you fall unconscious or your encounter ends, whatever comes first, but you cannot voluntarily stop raging. When you stop a rage, lose any temporary hit points, and you can't gain temporary hit points again from rage action for 1 minute, but you can still rage. You also get access to Quick Tempered. When you roll initiative, if you aren't encumbered or wearing heavy armor, you can just rage as a free action, which is really helpful when you want to get right into the fight immediately. You also get access to an instinct while you're raging. This is kind of like your barbaric, mindset. This is your barbaric tome. This is your reason for being a barbarian. I'm going to go with the Diabolical Dragon Instinct. So while you're raging, you gain an increase in damage from 2 to 4, and you change your damage type to a Dragon Breath instead of the damage type of the weapon or unarmed attack. So I'm going to pick a Diabolical Dragon. That's Divine Fire. So we're going to have fire damage on top of it, which is great when he starts priming. That's why we're picking Barbarian, because this really gets access to the priming and later on access to the dragon.
One of the coolest things about Rage is that it gets better as we use it and become a better Barbarian. At the 11th level, we get Mighty Rage. Our Barbarian class DC increases to Expert. When you use Quick Tempered, the first strike made during the first turn deals an additional damage equal to the Rage damage. So that means you basically double your Rage damage on the first strike of your first turn, which is really good for damage. 17th level, you get Revitalizing Rage. Instead of waiting 1 minute before we gain temporary hit points for Rage again, you only have to spend at least 1 turn not in Rage. So you can really revamp that temporary HP and keep you in the fight for much longer. You also get Furious Footfalls at the 3rd level. You get 5 feet to your speed just off the bat. You also get 10 feet while you're raging, so you can really cross some distance when you get really mad and want to hit something really hard. Raging Resistance at the 9th level. While raging, gain resistance equal to 3 plus your Constitution modifier to damage based on your instinct, so piercing and fire, because we're a dragon. And we also get the Devastator at the 19th level. Our rank increases to Master for our Barbarian class DC, and our melee strikes ignore 10 resistance to physical damage, so we can really just power through anything that has any resistances, which is really good at this level because we're fighting a lot of gods and demons and stuff like that. It'd be really good to be able to hit those guys right where it hurts. I don't know whether that would hurt on a demon its wings, I guess. Barbarians also get increases to Perception and saves as they level up. 17th level, you get Perception Mastery. Your Perception goes up to Master, which means we're going to be really late in the game to increase our Perception. Juggernaut at the 7th level, Fortitude increases the Master, and when you roll success, you get a critical success instead. Greater Juggernaut at the 17th level, you get a Fortitude of Legendary, and critical failures are now just failures, with half damage on any Fortitude saves that would cause damage. Reflex Expertise at the 9th level, Reflex increases to Expert, Indomitable Will at the 15th level, Will saves increase to Master, and roll success, get a critical success instead. Calling this like your Barbarian Rage is overcoming any type of mental delusions. You also see we also get skill increases, the 3rd and 5th, 7th, every other level. So we're really focusing on athletics, diplomacy as the big heavy hitters here. Clive is really, really strong, but at the same time he's also a great person to talk to. He's really personable and able to get along with a bunch of different people. That's very apparent throughout the game. He's just a nice guy. He just gets a little angry sometimes. Barbarians also get increases to their weapons and their armor as they level up. At the 5th level, all our simple and martial weapons as well as our armored attacks increase to Expert. At the 13th level, Mastery. Simple martial weapons and armor attacks increase up to Master. Weapon specialization at the 7th level, +2 damage with expert weapons, +3 with Master. And when we use Draconic Rage, our additional damage for Rage increases from 4 to 8. At the 15th level, we get +6 to all master weapons we use and increase our Rage damage from 8 to 16, which is a huge jump in damage. We also get increases to our armor. 13th level, all our unarmored, light armor, and medium armor trained turns into Expert at the 19th level Mastery. Unarmored, light, and medium increase up to Master. So decent armor class as we get higher. But there's a reason why people like to play Pathfinder, because of all the wonderful feats that our classes get. And here's a couple of the big ones I personally am picking to highlight. Sudden Charge, you stride twice when you end your movement within melee range of at least one enemy. You can make a melee strike against that enemy. So you basically get to have 3 actions for 2 instead of just 3. Second Wind, when you rage, you can choose to gain temporary HP from your rage even if 1 minute hasn't fully passed. Or a full turn. This is really good when you just really need to get back in the fight as soon as possible. Basic Sorcerer Spellcasting. At the 8th level, you get access to the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd level spells of your sorcerers, so I would pick Primal for your Sorcerer class. I would get Chilling Spray for the first level for a Shiva-related spell. Second, Blazing Bolt for a Phoenix-related spell. And third, either Lightning Bolt for Ramu or Fireball for a Freak, whatever you feel comfortable with. Dragon Rage Breath in a 30-foot cone. You deal 1d6 of damage per level you use against each creature in a basic reflex saving throw against it. So it's going to be a big fire breath you can use once every 10 minutes, which is going to be really, really helpful. At the 16th level, you get Dragon Transformation. This is where we actually get to become a Efreet. You get 10 temporary hit points, you get a speed of 40 with a fly speed of 100. You get 10 resistance to any damage type related to your Dragon Breath, so fire. You get Dark Vision, Imprecise Scent for 60 feet. You get Unarmored Melee Strikes. Your attack modifier is 22. You get a damage bonus of 6. These are based on your strength-based modifiers. You get a Jaws attack, which deals 2d12. Claws, which deal 3d10. You also get Dragon Breath, so you deal damage in a cone for 10d6 for each character in your save. So, really good. And what's great about this one is you can use this once every 1d4 rounds. You can really fire off that fire really well. 18th level, your battle form becomes huge. You gain plus 20 to your flying speed. And your also attacks, all your attacks get a plus 10 range. Your AC becomes 21 plus your level. Gain 15 temporary hit points. Your attack modifier is 28. And your Dragon Breath deals an additional 46 damage. So you'll become a god of fire, a warden of flames, if you will, at this level. So really lean into it, become a Efreet, just cause damage every which way. Also knows we get skill feats as well. Titan wrestlers can actually wrestle these different titans when you're wrestling with them and having those cool, awesome kaiju fights. Powerful leaps, you can jump further. Armor assist, you can wear your medium heavy plate. Bargain hunter and survey wildlife, so you can actually be out in the wilds and survey and be active in the world. So I think all these feats are really related to Clive as a character. Although he really comes into his own at the 16th level, I think it's well worth the wait to become, you know, a fucking dragon. With all that being said, do you want to be the Warden of Flames? Well, you get 368 health by the end of this build. You have an AC of 40 plus your shield arm. You have a speed of 40 feet or 8 squares on a board. With rage damage per attack, your Bastard Sword is dealing 1d8 plus 12 plus 16 with the rage. And also, yeah, you get to turn to a dragon, which I think is a huge draw for this build. You turn to a dragon, you have Prime, deal all that extra fire damage. Clive can deal damage, he can stay in that fight for a long time, he has a lot of temporary hit points, he can activate every single turn on a rage if he's willing to do so. It's great. Clive's an awesome character. Clive's so fun to play as in the game of Pathfinder as well. Thank you so much for the video. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you so much for being here with me. And have a great rest of your day. Look out for the next video where hopefully we don't turn to a giant evil monster and accidentally kill our brother in a violent, heated rage because we don't know how to control our emotions. Not that this happened in this game in the first 15 minutes. And then later again in an hour. That was an interesting prologue. You know, we kind of play halfway through the fight, then we stop, and then we go back and rewind before the fight to do the fight again. Not that I'm complaining. Away, the Phoenix theme goes hard in the motherfucking paint. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, the game's cool.